It's a pleasure to have you all on board. And before I go any further, I just want to take the opportunity to say thank you guys for being a part of this channel. I can see the channel is growing because I'm at 200 and something subscribers. So I am grateful and I couldn't do it without you guys. So thank you. Okay. The power of forgiveness. Do you still have room for forgiveness? And forgiveness is a very powerful act. Not everyone is deserving of our forgiveness, but in order for us to completely free yourself and to be happy and can move on with our lives, we have to be able to forgive, right? So I'm going to share my forgiveness story, or one of my forgiveness story, with you guys. All right, so my father, he wasn't a very supportive father. He didn't stand up and take care of his responsibility, and because of that, I had to take care of myself. Start taking care of myself at a very young age. Now I can say that I'm grateful for the experiences because I have learned a lot of lessons and have had a lot of experiences along my life journey. So now I'm grateful. Okay, so my mother and father, they were married together for some years, got separated, and the children were split. So some was living with my mother, and I think one or two of my brothers was living with my father. So I was living with my mother, but occasionally I would go and visit my father. So this specific summer, I went to see my father, right? And I had just passed my GSAT, so I was so happy and excited to go and deliver the news. Went there and I said, Daddy, you know, I passed my exam and so on and so forth. This nice again? Oh my God. I went there, I said, Daddy, passed my exam and I'm gonna go to a new school and everything. So I spent a part of the summer with him, and so while I was there, I realized it was getting down to the time when I'm supposed to go get my stuff ready for school. So being the little woman that I am, I'm always thinking ahead, checking ahead. So I said, Dad, you know, it's almost time for me to go up now and get myself together for school, right? So he was like, okay. My father gave me 100 Jamaican dollars. It was at the time, maybe that $100 could pay my fare from St. Elizabeth to Manchester, because he was living in St. Elizabeth at the time and my mom was living in Manchester. So I look on the $100. I'm like, Daddy, this is $100. He's like, yes, that's all I have. I'm like, but what am I supposed to do with this? I need to get stuff for school. He was like, well, this is what I have. So I gave it back to him, right? And I was there crying. So my bigger brother, he saw me crying and he was like, what happened? And I tell him. So he was like, you know what? Let me finish up this little work and I'll give you a money so you can get your stuff, get some stuff for school. I had to wait there about a week later before he finished, and I got the money and I got some stuff for school. He took me to this little store. There was this lady who, she usually go to America and buy stuff and bring back to sell. So she had a nice little brown shoes with a little heel on it. I say, I like that one. He buy me that one and, you know, give me a little money so I could go and get my uniform for school. I had to stay out of school maybe like for a week and a half out of my new school, but yes, that's how it was. So after this experience with my father, because Fast forward, I was living with him for a little time, back and forth, back and forth. But every time I go back to see my father, he was like, oh, you come at the wrong time, I don't have any money, and there was never a right time. So I never went back to see him for years. It was not until I was in like my late 20s, I was talking to my brother one day, and he said to me, Claudia, you're not gonna look for your father? I said, nope. I have that brother, he's always trying to put the family back together. He's family oriented and just always want to make things right. So him say, come here. Him say, Claudia, I know the man no deserve 1 ounce of kindness, you know. But he might get old. And one day he's gonna die. And you're gonna regret it that you're never gonna look for him or you never take care of him whichever way you could. And I just know you're gonna regret it because he's not that kind of person. You know, him said to me, and he not take nothing for forgive. Him say, look at me. Him never take care of me and me love him and me forgive him. Me say, that is you. But I was still putting up that defense, but after we have the conversation, me stop and think about it, and some part of the conversation to me makes some form of sense. And my brother came to see me another time, and he was like, I'm going to see Daddy, yeah, come? I said, alright, I go with him. When we go down there, the atmosphere was tense. I was just there until it was time to go. Yeah. So, a few months later, I was just feeling sad within myself. I called him. He answered the phone and I said, Daddy, you know who you're talking to? Him say, yes, it's Claudia. One thing about him, he always knew my voice. So I just pour out everything. I express how I was feeling. I express my disappointment. How he never take care of me. And because of that, I experienced a lot of suffering and, you know, having to struggle for everything for myself. And I don't even know if he said he was sorry, because sorry doesn't even make it any better anyway. But at the end of the conversation, he said to me that I might have not been a good father to you, but I was always praying for you. And when he said that to me, I was like, okay. You know, when I hung up the phone, being the God-fearing person that I am, right? And I believe in prayer, and I know that prayer can move mountains. And I know that when somebody prays for you, it's like a deliverance, some form of blessing them put out in the atmosphere for you. So I said, okay. I don't know if he tricked me or anything, but I was like trying to do the maths. So I'm like, all right, he never support me, but him say him did a pray for me. And I'm like, all right, maybe because he was praying for me, that is why, despite all the odds, I made it through life, right? So right there and then, something just changed inside of me, and I start to feel a sense of peace, right? And I start going to look for him now. We still have our little confrontation and tense conversation and thing, but over time, I find it was easier for me to hug my father and say, Daddy, I love you, and for me to just converse with him and to share whatever I have with him. So I realized that I was starting to forgive him, and I start to feel better within myself, right? And gradually the whole thing just get better. Now I have a good relationship with my father. I am able to, say yes. Without forgiveness, there is no peace, because I wasn't at peace until I come to terms with forgiveness and forgive my father. So he got a few strokes the other day, and because he's a little older than my mother, so when I heard the news, I was like, oh my God, this is it, that is going now, right? And I'm in America, I can't get to see him. I have to go down there. However, he bounced back from the strokes and he's doing okay now. So I was talking to him on the phone the other day, and I said, Daddy, I thought you was gonna go, man. Him say, go. I ain't going nowhere. At 70, and I'm on reason of strength, and I still want to live another 20 years. I'm like, what? He say, yeah, I want to live another 20 years to enjoy the earth. I'm like, okay. So, yes, there is power in forgiveness. Forgiveness is a very powerful thing. If you don't do it for the other person, at least do it for yourself. That is how you're going to find peace and completion. And yeah. My brother, I thank you so much for speaking word of wisdom into me, helping me to look at life on a different level and to see things differently, so I could find it in myself to come to terms and forgive my father for not taking care of us and be there for us as a father and providing for us as a father should. I admire your courage and your heart. You have a good heart. You're always trying to put the family back together, always giving of yourself, and I appreciate you. I am blessed to have you as my brother, and I just want to let you know that, guys, everything that happens to us in this life, there is always a lesson, or there is always something to take from every experiences that you have been through in life. So not having my father around to take care of me when I was much younger, I have gained a sense of independence that nobody can take from me. I am a go-getter. I try to make things happen for myself on my own. So that's strength to me. I have learned to forgive, I heal, I move on, and yeah,